Gary Vaynerchuk, one of the co-founders of Empathy Wines, and we are tasting the new Empathy Wines 2019 with one of the individuals that is so integral to the success. This gentleman right there, Mr. Tom Merwin. Pretty excited about that. He'll be joining us shortly, and some others from the Empathy community. If you are not part of the Empathy family, empathywines.com right now, we would love for you to join us. Please become a club member where you get a subscription of our beautiful white. Our red comes out in the fall, and the rosé comes later. We have a whole system. You might have also seen yesterday that we transacted on this business. Empathy Wines was sold to Constellation Brands yesterday. You might have seen some of the headlines, and that is pretty exciting for John, Nate, and Stu, Nor, and the rest of the team. Big transaction in my career, and we're really excited about that. And so the timing, this was scheduled for quite a while. The announcement schedule wasn't, was very fluid given the world we live in, COVID, this, that, and the other thing. So really fun timing for me as well, from the business side and from the wine side. Dustin is here. Dustin, please say hello.
Hello.
Hello. Yes, Edgar, this does sell in California, but it's a direct-to-consumer. You can't get it in stores and restaurants, so empathywines.com. Dustin, how are you?
Excellent.
Good. Do we have our guests lined up?
Yep, Tom is ready to roll,
All right,
and so is everyone else.
Awesome. Let's get Tom in here.
Cool.
Tom.
How's it going?
Cheers, brother.
Cheers. A celebratory cheers for you, I guess. Good timing.
A double cheers for me, no question. Why don't you tell everybody about yourself? One of the, as you know, and we're very grateful to have the partnership with you, one of the big factors in this project, and I think you know this, we've seen in the wine world, people come along, start brands with extremely super uber famous or leveraged vineyards, and they're trying to siphon the leverage. One of the reasons we started this was we wanted to give some of the best growers, farmers that we loved, even a bigger platform. You don't see a whole lot of people doing stuff like this in our world. So I'm very humbled for you to be here, and really hope that the Empathy Project can help your business, to be frank.
Oh, totally. So just a little bit of background about myself. I'm a 7th generation farmer in the greater Sacramento region.
Say that one more time.
I'm a 7th generation farmer outside, and my niece will be the 8th if she decides to be a farmer in the greater Sacramento area. And we've been farming in the Clarksburg region, which is an AVA, an American viticulture area, for over 100 years. So I did something you probably have advised many of your followers to do a little over a year ago. I direct messaged Empathy Wines via Instagram and said, hey, I love what you guys are doing, and if there is ever any way for me to be a part of this brand in supplying grapes, Chardonnay and Chenin Blanc, I just love to be a part of it. So, and now I'm here, and you and your team have done an excellent job at doing something extremely different in the wine industry.
I appreciate that. Let's talk about that, actually, because I know the majority of the people that are watching it. Team, don't worry, I'll go into like really breaking down the white. Tom's grapes are very involved in this white, and I'll let him speak about that. But what you did with the DM is actually extremely important, because I know, I would argue 80% of this audience is watching this right now because they're more of a business mindset. They're not here to get wildly educated on the breakdown of Empathy White. So this actually makes this session even more exciting for me, because I think we can help a lot of people, which is really my true passion. How long have you followed me? And then, go ahead.
Joe, just, for just your personal brand, probably, 5 or 6 years. And
How old are you?
I'm 37. I'm 37 years old.
Right. So when I started Wine Library TV, you're 7th generation, so it was in the DNA, but you didn't know of me when I was doing Wine Library TV. Were you on YouTube at that time? Did I hit your radar?
I'd seen the videos, but it hadn't really, to be honest, my passion for wine itself hadn't clicked yet. So, but once I did the research, dug a little bit deeper, it's, somebody providing such valuable content, while all the while helping their family business, I felt a connection there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, totally.
So more recently on the business stuff, some of the other stuff, and so literally you DM'd Empathy.
Totally. I did that, and literally 2 minutes later, I got a response back, and the like 3 or 4 days later, met with the winemaker. And then after that, had your team come out, visit the vineyards. And this is before I even sold you a ton of grapes, and started flying from there. So
And look at this. John Troutman.
John's awesome.
Love. He is
John's awesome, man. When he called me to let me know about your guys' big news, I was extreme. You could hear the excitement in his voice, and I was excited for him and you guys. It's awesome.
Dustin, or John, Nate, nor any of the characters here on video with us?
Nate was in here, but now he left.
Was he just checking up on you, like to make sure you knew what the hell you're doing?
Oh wait, I think he's back. Nate, can you turn your video on? And here we go.
There he is. There's my handsome partner in crime, Nate.
How's it
Nate,
going?
How are you?
I'm doing well.
Say what's up to Tom.
Tom, how's it going?
Doing great. It's July. We're getting closer to harvest.
How you feeling about this vintage, Tom?
So it's funny you mentioned that. It's a drier vintage, and for our wine region, that's actually a good thing. So disease pressures are extremely low. There's no issues at all in the vineyards right now. And with this drier climate that we're going to have harvest, I mean, anything could change. It's farming, it's an open air casino. I think that we're on track to have a great, especially for the Chenin Blanc and Chardonnay that I grow for you guys. I think it's going to be an awesome vintage. Awesome. Very concentrated, very powerful, and a lot of flavor.
Oh, look at Trouty in the building. John didn't want to be left out.
I was the party. I always want to join.
I think you wanted to join because Tom was giving you huge accolades and you wanted to get some extra love.
It's funny when I'm being critiqued, I can never be found.
Yeah, I mean, when in these business meetings through the last decade, John, when you've done a big problem, all of a sudden, weirdly, you're on the Cape and like the service doesn't work and we can't talk to you for a week. But sure enough, a single fucking compliment and you're on screen within a second.
Sorry, what?
Yeah. Tom, tell everybody who's watching to give you a little bit more love. Where your wines can be found, like what wines your grapes are in, if you can disclose that, or different things.
Totally.
Obviously from a farming standpoint, not everybody here can come and support, but where
Totally.
can they support? Besides, everybody's watching right now. If you are not signed up for Empathy, just so you know, because somebody sent me they unsubscribed from their Empathy subscription and said, Gary, great run. I was really just doing this to support you now that you sold the company. And I replied, no. We have a lot of the back end numbers we have to hit for this to get really good. You want me to buy the Jets? I need you to double up your subscription. So if you're confused right now and you're on a 3 or a 6 or even a 12 subscription, I need you to bump. If you love the wine, if you buy wine anyway at $20, then I want you. If you don't buy wine, you don't need to do that. If you buy wine for gifts and clients, by the way, Nate, I don't know if you heard the story. A real estate agent reached out to me, John, you too. A real estate agent reached out to me, wanted to support, bought the 12 bottle subscription, started giving out the wines, and won like a business account because they came to the office. Because the person was a Gary Vee fan, saw the Empathy, got the business, and the commission on the house supposedly, the person made a mistake and told me how much the commission was, and I said, look, I need 50% of that now in 88 subscriptions of Empathy.
I'm going to need that name to follow up on.
Yeah.
So Tom, I'm sorry to side road because that's why I got D's and F's in school. How can people support you?
Yeah, so you can find my grapes directly that I'm allowed to disclose. And I'm also a business partner and founder of the company at fellowwines.com. So it's a 100% Clarksburg AVA brand, founded by myself and 2 friends, and trying to aspire to be hit half your target. So
we appreciate that.
Yeah.
Talk to us about the vineyard and John, obviously we're very close to this one on the way. Like, let's talk about like what's in here.
Yeah, it's so 50% of the blend is Chenin Blanc, which Tom provided for us.
Thank you, Troy Hooper. Just bought all 3-pack. I enjoyed that. If anybody orders right now, claim it. We'll triple check. If we'll give you a shout out, but if we double check and you're not in the system, we're gonna shame you in perpetuity. And Nate is looking at the back end right now, so I'm typing. So he's gonna look for orders to come in here. EmpathyWines.com. Let's do that. Okay, go ahead, Johnny.
So yeah, 50% of the blend is Chenin Blanc, which Tom, is that fair to say that Clarksburg is kind of holds its hat a lot on Chenin Blanc on the white side of things?
Totally. If you talk to sommeliers from around the world, they would say that outside of the Loire region of France, Clarksburg is one of the premier wine regions in the world for Chenin Blanc. And if you go look up some old wine library episodes, Gary talks a lot about Chenin Blanc. So,
A fan.
Yep. And then another 25% of the blend is Chardonnay, which Tom also supplies for us, which gives it a little bit of that weight and texture and that I think a lot of people like in their white wines, even if they don't know that they do. And then the other 25% being Viognier, which we get from Bokish over in Lodi, not far away.
And Nate, how do you think about this wine compared to last year's white or in general? I mean, obviously all three of us have been so deep for almost 9 months on this, it's been a long time on this Constellation deal. How did you navigate like giving a shit about the wine while working on the biggest transaction of your business life? Tom, you like this? I'm like,
yeah, I do.
I'm like grilling these guys like I'm on
It's,
fucking CNBC or something.
It's funny, throughout the process, especially with everything going on in the world, which was a whole other stressor for many reasons. It felt like I had 3 jobs. One was running Empathy, one was working on the deal, and then as the deal was getting closer, it was kind of starting to integrate with Constellation while there was these other things going on in the world. So it was a extremely stressful 3 months.
Robert S., thank you. Keep going, sorry. I mean,
extremely stressful 3 months,
running,
but
Nate, 2 years running, case member, Robert. I mean, we need to,
we got to give Robert a shout out.
I like how Dustin puts up the comment that says Moscato gets me girls. Dustin, come on, baby.
They scroll up. So
I know. Listen, put SFK's right. Moscato gets him the girls. I respect that.
I know Robert. I've seen that name for the past couple of years with his support.
Can you say thank you, Nate? I mean,
Robert. I actually you're one of the few names that is very familiar to me. So thank you for the support since the very beginning.
Thank you, Robert, so much.
Yeah.
Dustin, if we can get Robert on here before this episode ends, I'm into it.
Cool.
Figure it out.
Yeah, so it was a wild few months. Wild.
Garrett Glenn, thank you for just ordering. Tom, what's exciting for you right now in general? Like, are you kind of like really in it now? Like, you're such a cliche story. Like 7th generation, like every generation from the second one to the 7th one was like at 13, 14 being like, I'm not going to be in this fucking bullshit wine business. I'm going to be a rock and roll star. And then like which happens quite often, you realize, oh, wait a minute, this is epic. It's actually in your terroir. It's in your DNA. And then that really fun moment starts where you're like in that phase 2. Okay, you got into it. Now you're kind of into it. Are you knowing your age and just even taking your vibes? Are you there right now?
Oh, I'm there. It's, I'm president of our Clarksburg Wine Grape Growers and Vintners Association. So taking a leadership role in our wine community. And for us, our end game isn't, successful as a personal farm. It's more about getting the Clarksburg wine name out there and getting the public to recognize that, hey, this is a great wine growing region. And we could do things that a lot of people would assume we can't do with wine. And as you guys have seen with our grapes.
Trouty, what most took you aback when you were tasting through some of the components?
So I think I wanted to really like the grape and really like the juice that he was supplying because he reached out to us on Instagram, and so he had that deck stacked against him or stacked for him. But I think with the Chenin in general, the wines are just super, super delicious. Tons of acidity, and yet they have a lot of complexity, a lot of fruit. Juicy. And then the Chardonnay, I think dollar for dollar is just incredible. When you compare that to a lot of Chardonnay from, down in Sonoma or what it might be, dollar for dollar, it's incredible.
Looking at the time, Tom, what website can people find you? What's the best plug we can give you before we bounce you out of here in your beautiful face?
The best plug would be visit fellowwines.com, and that would be it.
Is this right? If you're looking at it?
That's right. That is exactly right.
All right, everybody check that out. Tom, thank you for being a part of this story. Really.
Thank you. Excited
and
for
if
you.
I-
Congratulations.
Thank you, brother. And if I can be a help to you, these guys have
Thank you.
It's just Gary at VaynerMedia. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Awesome.
Have a good
All
one.
right, John, Nate, I know we weren't planning on having you here, but I really enjoy razzing and joking and buddying with
I'll
you guys.
stick around to be razzed. I'm gonna buy some wine from Fellow Wine right now, though.
That's very nice. All right, let's move into our first guest, Dustin. We have some wine questions.
Hey, Gary, how's it going?
I mean, Nate, do you go by Nate or Nathaniel, or what do you go
You
by?
can call me Nat.
Do you go by Nat? Awesome. Nat, real pleasure. Say hello to John and Nate.
John, Nate, what's up? How you doing?
What's up, Nat?
I'm good.
Congrats, everybody. Huge news
Thank you.
yesterday.
Thank you.
That must
Thank you. Thank you.
be, brand like Constellation, even with, Corona in their portfolio. That's awesome, man. So good stuff.
Thank you.
So one thing I was curious about is, year to year, how do you decide like how much of each grape goes into each blend? And, like from year to year, what determines like the variation of change that you would put into that?
So this is a farming product, and obviously, since I had a lot to do with the architecture of the concept, I wanted to call it red, white, and rosé. Actually, this is fun. Let's get under the hood. Trout, you're really deep in the. Nate's a real good wine guy, but like you're a better wine guy than Nate. Let's just get
Let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah, let's call it spade a spade. When I kind of like pitched the concept of like we're gonna make a red, a white, a rosé, did you worry about that? Did that land with you right away? Nat, my thought was it's a farming product. We don't own a vineyard. We're gonna use my leverage, my relationships, my gravitas, serendipity, like we just had with Tom, to find the best vineyards, the best farmers. And if one year the red is 100% Pinot Noir, because it's the greatest Pinot Noir vintage in California history, cool. If the next year it's a blend, I thought that would be fun. It would keep it fresh. But John, excuse me.
Yeah.
Dustin, could you please change John's name to Trout or Trouty? Like nobody like.
You're John.
Like John. Anyway, Trout, did that land with you, or were you more like, did that, or do you like it even now? Like, where are you at with that concept?
So probably the first 24 hours or 48 hours that you pitched me on the idea, I didn't like it. And it's probably because
by the way, this is the story of my life.
Okay.
Doesn't like it, and then now look, Trout's like buying limousines. Go ahead, Trout.
Sorry, what? The audio. No, I didn't like it probably because I was blinded by being so in the wine world where everything is about the single grape variety, where it has to go by these certain rules. And then probably the marketer and brand guy in me kicked in after sleeping on it for a day or two. And I realized, let's just make the best wine possible for the best money. And that might change year over year.
So Nat, what goes into that when you create that kind of flexibility is stuff that that I like in business, which is of the moment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not locked into being a Merlot. I'm not locked into being a rosé made from Pinot Noir. I'm not locked into being a Chardonnay. My obsession is that if everybody who subscribes to it gets the best $20 wine, then I need as much flexibility on that as possible. So we're out there tasting, making relationships. And honestly, that's why we did the Constellation transaction. That puts us in the stratosphere. Like if all of you thought it was good now, wait to see what we've got cooking at $20. I mean, people are going to crap their pants. I would have said shit, but now within the Constellation world, I'm not sure what I'm allowed to say or not, but it's going to be a big deal.
Yeah. And speaking of changing, obviously there's a lot of changing in the business world going on right now. What did you do to adjust to, the pandemic? Obviously, like I'm sitting
real quick. I apologize. Jennifer, yes. Did he just say rosé made from Pinot Noir? Rosés are made from red grapes. So it's the skin. So yes, that's exactly what I said, Jennifer Dalton. Go ahead, Nat, talk about navigating Corona.
Yeah, sure. So I'm sitting at home drinking more than I was before. Like, what have you guys done to reach, reach more people? Obviously, that's probably helped with sales. Where do you see opportunity also? Like, I'm a sales guy. Actually, the first time, Gary, I ever got to know you was I worked for the Yankees, and you came and spoke.
Oh, when I came and spoke in that little group?
Yep.
How did the sales team how did the group like that? Because I came in hot.
So you know what? You know what's great. You were fantastic because a lot of the things you were saying are the things that I like razz on my bosses about, and I'm just like, can you listen to Gary? Like this dude's more successful than you. Yeah, they were just like, nah,
and so was it two groups after I left? Like the youngsters were like, yeah, and some of the old guard was like, fuck that guy.
Well, some of it's just like, yeah, the manager's like, yeah, we have our process. But then like a lot of the other people are like, come on, man, like you got to be flexible, you got to go with the times. But the Yankees are run by the old guard, but at the same time, we do there's such a big brand behind it that there's a lot of different things you got to go into with it.
Of course.
But yeah, so also, where do you see obviously alcohol is something you can sell a lot more of now. Where do you see other sales opportunities in the business world growing over the next 6 to 12 months?
Home offices, technology, and other things that play towards home offices. Everybody is going to have a bigger balance of work from home than pre-corona whenever we get back to normal. So I would go there.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a good move. Sports sales is a little rocky right now. So always looking for some business savant advice.
Matt, thank you so much for being on.
Appreciate your time, guys. Take care. Congrats again.
We're here now.
Can I give a couple shout outs here?
You can, Nate. Jeff,
we have a few.
You're looking sharp, and we'll be with you in 1 minute. Go ahead, Nate.
Hey, Jeff, real quick for the new Empathy subscribers, Paul Rubin, Ames Stelzer, Craig Ernst, Paul Bonakowski, and Karen Westling.
Love it. Dustin, I have no idea why EmpathyWines.com is not down here. I have no idea what you're doing. But
all right, hold on a second.
Dustin. All right, Jeff Green.
How you doing? I'm Jeff Green. I'm a wine director, general manager of a program up here in Newburgh, New York, up in the Hudson Valley. And currently running a program. We've gotten the Wine Spectator Best of Award 4 years in a row. We are currently set to open another restaurant on the property, a little bit smaller, obviously with restrictions as well, with what we're all currently working in. But our concept has always been about value. We want to under-promise and over-deliver. And when it comes to wine has been a huge part of our brand. In fact, most of the reason why people probably decide is besides the food and ambiance, but the wine list that we have. And putting together this new concept, we were looking to give everybody, certain varietals or vintages from areas that they might be renowned for but might not be able to afford. But we were finding small producers that might be on the same land or might be able to be declassified but still great quality. And what we've noticed is, speaking with a lot of our purveyors directly, they're all expecting a lot of tariffs to be coming in the near future in different stages, which is going to really hurt that whole value perception for us of the European imports. So what I was asking is, for your opinion, do you think that with these tariffs coming in, because we had a Sancerre on our reserve system that I could get at $15 a bottle, and now it's going to go up to 23 and probably even more.
My dad's dealing with that at Wine Library. It's going to lead for you to start looking at regions like Quinsay and Touraine, and this is going to hurt the upper echelon this is going to hurt that $25 to $30 range of French and German wines, because to your point, my dad, they're going to walk away from Sancerre and they're going to start looking at Touraine, and it's just going to change the dynamics, and some of those categories are going to be strong enough to become a new echelon. People are going to start buying $35, $40 Sancerre at retail, $100 Sancerre at restaurant. The tariffs are going to change the game.
So what my thought was too is that perhaps this might sway their perception value in domestic wines, where
or notice that I didn't say yes, or it's going to allow things to emerge. To your point, listen. I actually have to figure out how to do some Wine Library TV. Literally, in the prime of Wine Library TV, I was so anti-California Chardonnay, and even more, I didn't even think there should be any Sauvignon Blanc in any of California, like none. Over the last 10 years, my palate's changed. And I can't believe how much I like certain California Sauvignon Blanc.
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the producers out there really started realizing that they don't want oak bombs anymore. They don't want the buttery feeling. They want a little more lively acid. And then the ones that are on top realized they had to make the adjustment in the winemaking.
And that's what I was screaming about back then. And it's cool to see. I mean, listen, it was definitely not just me, but at the time I did have a voice, and I think it's a better wine because of it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. Well, Jeff, thank you so much.
Yeah, pleasure to be on.
Continued success. Thank you.
Thank you.
I like Jeff, Nate, and Trouty. Trout. Jeff looks like your hero, like suit and tie, wine
It's
program.
my guy.
That's your guy. I feel like I ruined you. You're like a nice, proper man. Then you volunteered. Trout, tell everybody, listen to this, because I think this is something that I'm sure a lot of people who follow me, I'm going to get the emails and DMs, dream it up this way. Like, what was the first human interaction we ever had?
The Boston Wine Expo in 2008 came and volunteered, handing out DVDs back in the good old days, Wine Library TV DVDs to people who were coming by this this trade booth and tasting wines, and basically just put in free work for a couple hours by doing free work, and then made my pitch.
Trout, do you remember? I remember obviously that event because Kay Murph was there, and she worked at Wine Library for 4 or 5 years and is in the wine business, 750 ml, probably killing it. She's the best human. Do you remember anything that stands out? I've never asked you this. We're like friends now. We've worked together for a long time. You know, obviously you watch me on YouTube videos. Did anything stand out from that first day of that?
Just being nice, honestly. Like, I think it's funny, like, not that I was starstruck, because at that time you were like, didn't nearly have the following you had, but I was definitely intimidated. And everybody that worked for you and everybody around there was just super nice and like asked me about my background, why I came there that day, why I was hanging out with them, which honestly is like probably what kept me working for you for so long. It's that you surround yourself by nice people, really smart people, but nice people too.
It's cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, let's keep it going. Who was at the Boston Wine Expo with us?
Brandon, Matt Sittimer, Kay Murph. I don't think Ian Dorn was there, but I got to know him later too.
Devin, what's good?
Hey, what's going on, man? First off, man, I'm super hyped to just be even on this stream with you. I'm not even sure if you actually remember me, but I know we met, and I know you were just talking about with John there when you guys met. Like, so you and we actually met for the first time at CES back in January this year, and we talked for a little while. And you were saying about how you were talking about, just basically about your business and everything like that and what you got going. And it was funny because one of the things with myself is like we were talking, and it was funny because I kept saying, man, what if I ran into Gary here while I'm here? And funny thing about it, that's exactly what happened. And then right after that, I tweeted it out. And you eventually were saying, I think Casey had tweeted it out, retweeted it. And he was basically saying that, I could, come out. You were basically saying that I could come out there, get my 30 minutes with you in New York, which was super dope, by the way. I do want to tell you that I appreciate that, man, for you being a part of that and saying that. So, but anyway, first off, before I get into my question, man, I do want to give a major shout out to you all as far as what you guys are doing. The new acquiring that you guys just had, man, I think is super, super dope. So a major shout out to you guys with that for sure, man.
Thank you so much. What can I answer for you?
Now, one of the questions that I have, like me, I run a tech channel here on YouTube called C-Kid Tech. And one of the things that I have to ask you guys about in regards to tech, what would you say? Well, how would you say that tech actually plays a role within the wine industry in itself?
John, Nate, maybe you can take this one. You play a lot in this game.
Yeah, so tech is interesting in the wine world, I would say, because it is a very regulated business, especially going direct to consumer. You have to play within the guidelines that are at a state-by-state level. There's some more out-of-the-box solutions for the wine business that can kind of help you build your e-commerce platform for a direct-to-consumer business. We did it a little bit differently. We kept the customer in mind first. We wanted to make the most customer-centric experience in our website possible. We wanted to have as frictionless buying as possible. So we built our website on top of Shopify Plus, and then worked backwards from there of what do we need to build into this to make it compliant and make it work in this regulated industry. So it's been a pretty complex process over the past couple of years, but tech was kind of at the forefront of how we scaled this business.
And then obviously from the tech stack, just obviously using modern communication to build the brand. I mean, this is a wine brand that sold 15,000 cases in its first year. and was all done on social. So
Okay.
there's that. And then there's in the macro wine business, when I was a kid, there was bad years with wine. And now, because of the weather technology and the technology in winemaking, California makes good wine every year. And literally bad. Literally, I remember as a kid being scared. I'm like, oh, what if you bought it, not knowing shit, being like, oh, you could buy bad wine, bad, doesn't taste good at all. Now, people might not like something, but it's not a flawed wine. It doesn't have insect issues, it doesn't have weather issues, it doesn't have water issues. And so that's been a huge game changer in the wine world. The technology of weather and farming and winemaking, and the advancements in technology, even in my short life, are extraordinary.
Okay. Do you attest as far as social media to that, as far as the growth on how you guys were able to scale your business to the level of where it's at?
Only.
Okay.
I mean, literally, I think the only thing we did was I was on Fallon. Other than that, everything was social.
Okay.
We did a little, tiny bit of press, oh, Johnny learned, listen, the people we worked with are my favorite people in it, but traditional PR, and that was actually a really fun thing. Devin, thank you so much for being on, bro. Anytime, just hit me up anytime.
For sure.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Nate,
for sure.
Nate Trout,
Appreciate you.
Thank you. Nate Trout, I think you guys probably realize this, one of the more fun things, actually talk about this. This might help a lot of people. You were important cogs in the Vayner machine, ultimately ending up in a role called the Office of the CEO, 4-person team with the incredible Matabel Lotta, who's a huge executive at the Sasha Group, Marcus Krasastik, who is my chief of staff, and then you were part of that team. Nate, you obviously worked very close to AJ. Trout, we worked a ton together. You learned a lot from Kelly McCarthy, other things. You've been around for a while. What was the biggest difference between being a key cog in a machine to then being actually a partner in the actual business?
John, you want me to go?
You take it away.
I mean, it's a whole different mentality. It's your business, and things matter like they didn't before. Before you had a support system. Before you had a support system of VaynerMedia, when I started there was 30, and I think when we left it was around 700 people. So the last 2 or 3 years, there was a big support system around you where if something was going wrong, there was teams and infrastructure there to fix problems and leaders of different divisions. Me and John were leading this business from day one, and thankfully we hired a lot of really great, smart, hardworking people to help us through the challenges. But at the end of the day, it's the buck kind of stopped with us. I think Gary did an awesome job letting us run the business from a day-to-day standpoint, and having us use him when needed, but gave us that freedom to run the business. So it was it was being an entrepreneur. It's just very different than working in a system. And I think entrepreneurship is difficult. I think that's what I learned in the first 6 months of it's not a.
Would you argue that you had a far greater appreciation for my abilities?
Yeah, of course. And I was so close to you from a day-to-day standpoint. So it looked normal, when I was your assistant 10 years ago. That's kind of what I came into, and that looked like just what normal life was. But then when you actually have to make the decisions and you're running the business, it's a very different feeling.
Trout?
Nate kind of summed it up, but maybe another way to say it is every single problem is your problem. If it's an HR issue, if it's a finance issue, if it's whatever it is, especially when it's a small team of only a handful of people, you're kind of dealing with everything. Whereas, at a big company, when you're, a cog in the system, at the end of the day, you can always go to somebody else for help and support, or, go to the CFO or whoever it is, and finance is their problem, or the head of HR, they deal with that. When it's your business, everything kind of falls on you to figure out. So,
yeah. And I would say, me and John have been best of friends for years. And so I would say that, being able to work on these problems and solutions together was definitely, I think, a benefit.
Was it hard in the times where one of you felt the other person was the issue? I think, when me and AJ's relationship is different post VaynerMedia. to pre. Not worse. Didn't get fucked up, but different. It's just the real life of it. You know, there's no way that your relationship's not different. You know, was that challenging at first? Like John, like the first night you went to sleep and be like, it's fucking Nate's fault. Like, you know, like how did you go through that when you had this great relationship growing up in a company together where you did have a leader like me that really ultimately did take on all the pressure?
Yeah.
You know, so now what you men are talking about is pressure. You know, like how was that to navigate when you had to go through that?
You know what's funny is probably things that would have taken 60 days or 90 days to like fester before they would have gotten addressed by normal business partners happen instead in like 5 days, because like you just felt comfortable enough to be like, and there were only a handful of times where I think we actually had like real conversation where like I don't agree with that, and it's because we've been come up in the same system where generally we see eye to eye on most things. But
Fair enough.
Would you say the same, Nate? You're like, nah.
No, Nate texted me. No, Nate texted me more than you texted. Nate texted me way more. It's like, it's Trout. I'm telling you, it's fucking Trout. You know, you were.
No, I would agree. I would say, like, to really get into it though, you know, John and I are best of friends, but since running a business
By the way,
together,
Stu, who leads creative at Empathy, pretty much puts the hammer down on that right there. Go ahead, Nate.
I was just going to say, you know, I do think our relationship changed slightly over the past couple of years because, you know, every single day at work is, you know, us together nonstop building this business.
Right, when you with me, I had you guys dividing and conquering at times, of course, but now, right, you didn't want to see his face after at night.
I have a lot of neutrality in my life.
Together.
All right, let's get to another question. We got some people here. I can have fun with you guys all night.
Hi, Gary, Nate, and John. How you doing?
We're well, Stuart.
Hey, so first of all, as you've probably heard a million times now, congratulations on the Constellation deal. That is a huge, I mean, that's huge when it comes to accomplishing the mission that you guys are trying to accomplish with basically making the best wine available at the greatest price possible. So thank you very much for contributing to that mission. I'm the owner of the Wine on the Dime YouTube channel. So Gary, Wine Library TV has been a huge influence on what I do, because what I normally do is focus around that $15 and $20 and under mark and try to do my best and tell people what is good for the value and what they should pair with the sink. They need to pair it with the sink sometimes, in my opinion. So, but I actually have a question for all of you. This is a question I've been dying to ask you. So whenever I have this concept of what I call a gateway wine, which is almost like when people talk about gateway drugs, like, oh, if you try it once, you're going to do it all. Well, there's a wine where you try, and for the first time you try it, you go, man, I really want to get deeper into this. I want to learn everything about it. So what were your gateway wines that got you into this industry?
Nate?
Mine was a Sea Smoke Pinot Noir from the Santa Barbara County. It was the first wine I had where I was like, wow, this is delicious. I want to learn more about this. I forgot the vintage, but I remember I was at my friend's house. His parents opened a bottle, and that was like the time that it clicked.
Love it. Trout?
Yeah, I've probably answered this question a bunch of different ways in the past, but the one that when you asked it this time, I was like, yeah, that was it. Oyster Bay Sauvignon Blanc from New Zealand. And the reason being, it was like the late 90s when all of a sudden, and I was like 18 years old. I couldn't even drink at the time. But like all of a sudden at my dad's restaurant, people were like, do you have New Zealand Sauvignon Blanc? And that was the one we had on the list. And then anytime you pour it, you knew what it was right away because it was just so distinct. So that's the wine for me that like kind of sparked my curiosity.
You know, for me, it was actually really, really, really interesting. By the time that I tell you this story about this wine happened, I probably knew on memory the rating by the Wine Spectator and Robert Parker and Stephen Tanzer of 10,000 wines off the top of my head. Because I started reading about wine and obsessing about knowing it all at 15, 16. And the wine I'm about to tell you happened when I was 21 and a half. I had a Mossy 1993 Amarone at a tasting. And I tasted it, and it tasted for the first year and a half of half a year to year of tasting wine, it all just tasted like white wine, red wine. It tasted like wine. All the stuff I read for 6 years of my life, I was like, what are they fucking talking about? What's I don't taste cranberry. This is red wine. And it was the first time I tasted a wine and said, holy crap. I got so emotional. I left the tasting to go to the parking lot. I went back in, called my mom in my new cell phone that I had, and said, Mom, it's literally, I'll never forget this. Mom, it's going to be okay. Because I had this great fear that I was going to know a lot about wine, but not like it. And if I didn't like it, I could never really help my dad do what I wanted to help him with. So I loved it because I like Snickers bars and whatchamacallit and like chocolates. It was like candy milk chocolate, not this like high cocoa count fancy stuff that's good for your heart and you have one niblet. It was like eat 3 Kit Kats in a sitting good. And it completely changed the course of my career.
That's awesome. Yeah. So the other thing that I wanted to spend a moment on is because I focus so much on value and maximizing the value per dollar for when people are buying wines. First of all, I think empathy is a great value per dollar. So the mission you guys are doing, just stick with it. You're going to, as you said, you're changing the world. So
wait till you see what this, I mean, you know, the infrastructure they have from great, I mean, I'm going to try to charm somebody at Tocolone Vineyard to like, man, let me put that into Empathy Red. Like I'm on a mission in this partnership. Like I want to make a $70 wine for $20.
That would be fantastic, and I would buy all of it. But one of the things that I wanted to ask is, so what are some of the things besides going D2C, direct to consumer, that you feel can also, there's still some room, and I know you don't want to give away secrets because you gotta protect yourself too, but what are some things that can be done overall from an industry that will kind of
good news, Stuart. Good news, Stuart. I have loose lips. So, you know, I think that I think you have to look at certain other arenas. Look what happened with Rosé. When I left and retired from Wine Library TV and Wine Library operationally daily, Rosé still wasn't selling at all.
Yeah.
I mean, and so we have to look at new places. Clarksburg, Chenin Blanc, right? Maybe it's Idaho Semillon. Maybe it's Virginia Viognier. Maybe it's North Carolina Cabernet Franc. Maybe it's, you know, a blend of Zin and Chardonnay. I know I'm getting completely ridiculous now. Maybe it's wine, maybe it's sangria. Maybe the destiny of the wine business is infused with actual fruit. I don't know. Innovation. The end.
Yeah. Anybody else?
I want to get some of the people that have been waiting, so we're going to go. Stuart, keep doing your thing, brother.
Thank you very much.
Bye-bye. Francesco Belafonte is awesome. He's doing quotes in YouTube. It's awesome. All right. Scott S.
Hey, Scott.
Hey, fellas.
Cheers.
Good to see you. I have a confession to make. This is actually my last bottle of 18, and you'll know why in a second, because when I tell you I'm from Missouri, you will understand why. It is sitting in a family member's home right now, the 19. So I figured this was a special enough occasion to polish off my 18. Still loving it. And great job. Congrats. Awesome to see. And thanks for spending the time this afternoon and evening. So, hey, it was awesome to see you mention it. You mentioned earlier when you were doing Wine Library TV about Chardonnay. And I went through the same thing. And so when I was looking for other whites, one of the ones you mentioned Semillon that, you know, can be on the desserty side sometimes, but Viognier was one that I found that it just didn't have the butter in the oak and all that. And so I started drinking Viognier, but it has been amazing to me over the years how it really hasn't blossomed any. I mean, I have, like, for instance, my wine store, which is huge, they have 2 Viogniers literally like just outside the bathroom in the back. Like, I mean, that's it. And it's like, it is amazing to me how, you know, we don't see more Viognier. And I'm wondering, why is that? Why do we not see? That seems like it would be a good unique. It can be dry, it can be sweet, depending on who makes it.
Because there's no Robert. Let me explain what I mean by that. Most of the premium wines that matter in today's world were heralded by Robert Parker over a 30-year period, the most important wine critic in modern times. Napa Valley is Napa Valley on the back of Robert Mondavi. In a lot of ways, I was pissed that my name wasn't Robert Vaynerchuk when I was doing Wine Library TV, because it would have made that statement I just made even better. Because there's no Robert for Viognier, Scott. I promise you, if I grew up in a family business that planted only Viognier and I caught the bug the way I did, Viognier would be the most popular grape in America.
Love it.
No Robert.
So we got any thoughts on how it could
Yes,
get
here's
more
my thought.
prevalent?
Yeah, here's my thought. Take advantage of the fact that nobody knows about it and keep buying it, because if everybody knows about it, it's going to get a lot more expensive.
Okay, we got to switch subjects then. I can't talk about that. But hey, so one other thing I will ask is, I had to check. This is actually the second time we've had a chance to chat. When you were doing the Club Empathy back March, when you were asking people to sign up and doing the call, you helped me with some branding of my business. Immensely helpful. It's been pretty good. It is in travel, so you can imagine what's been happening post-COVID, but it's hugely helpful. And I even got to chat with Nate and Trouty back in that was in about a year ago in LA.
Yeah.
And but you had a little something that might be more important than meeting me. You were doing an Entrepreneur Magazine interview, and I had something at that event that I was hoping I could get 5 minutes of your time to get a John Hancock on this sucker, because I've been keeping it in the bag for you.
It's gonna happen,
just
Scott.
screaming. It's just
gonna
screaming
happen.
for a John Hancock
I'm
right
ready.
there. So
I'm ready, brother. I will do it. It will get done when this is all over. Scott, thank you so much for the support, brother. Take
Thanks,
care of
guys.
yourself.
Good to see you.
Stay well.
Yeah, thanks, Scott.
It's awesome. Let's keep it going.
Hey guys.
Hey, Jacob.
First off, congratulations.
Thank you.
My question
Thank
is,
you.
I'm pretty new to wine. Probably really got serious because of you. Bought Empathy last year, so thank you for that.
Thank you.
Jacob.
My question is, I'm kind of more interested in the professional side of it. I'm taking the WSET level 1 right now, and I'm eventually wanting to mix various grapes with mead and make piment and try to start a business with that.
Very cool.
And so my question is, how would you know what like value of wines to, if you're new like I am, to go out and buy and try to see like that?
Jacob, my advice in the wine world is the same I give in business now, is you just got to go out and try and taste. So the advice is actually just make sure you try different things.
Yes.
I could care less if you go Gewürztraminer or Rioja or Tanat or Pinot Grigio. I just care that you try different things every time to give you a shot to figure it out.
Okay. Would you say a price point then, as I guess I'm getting at, like, so, kind of ignore the bottom of the barrel wines and grape varieties that you almost are guaranteed that you are getting?
I think Portugal is insanely underpriced.
Okay.
John, Nate?
I think my answer actually is a little bit different than yours, Gare. I think the tasting is definitely a huge piece of it. Just taste as much as you can at all different types of price points, even if it means you taste a cheap bottle just to confirm you don't like it. But knowing that you're studying with like WSET, I did the same thing with the Quartermaster Sommeliers. I actually oddly found that I learned more just on the internet, just going to like internet wine forums and talking to people, and it was totally free.
You learn more from Wine Library TV?
Yeah, Wine Library TV. Yep. So like
Hey, Jacob, real quick, I apologize for that. You're starting to watch it, Jacob?
Yes, I think I just finished episode 24 actually before this.
What's the biggest I have not talked to a human being who's this young, who's known me, got into wine, and now is going like this is just good learnings for me. I'm being selfish a little bit. Any weird like when you watch the first 24 episodes, are you like, oh, Gary's changed, or he's the same, or oh, weird, he used to like, any weird insights that I could learn from? Anything interesting?
I want to say weird, like knowing that those videos go back to 2006 and seeing how you act then versus I've been following you for probably 5 years.
Wait till you get to episode 55. I'll save you the secret. Okay. You hit me back after that. All right. Yeah. But Nate, anything to add to that?
Nope.
All right, Jacob. Anything we didn't touch on?
No, that's pretty much it. Appreciate it, guys, and
Thanks for your support.
congratulations.
Thank you, brother.
Yep.
Actually, Dustin, I know we were that was gonna be it, but let's sneak one more in.
Gary V, what's going on?
What's up, brother? Say what's up to Nate and Trout.
Hey, what's
Tyler.
good, Nate and Trav? Hey, I just got the chat message. I was getting kicked off. Thank you for putting me on, man. It is a pleasure to be here and meet you guys.
Pleasure.
Just want to say congratulations to you all on this huge accomplishment.
Wait, Tyler, real quick.
Being acquired is an insane deal.
Tyler.
And, you know, young entrepreneurs like me, I'm 21 years old. Yeah.
Is that chest hair?
What was that? Yeah.
Dude, that's some sexy shit, bro. You're bringing it. I just wanted you to know.
I
Keep going.
appreciate it, man.
Keep going.
I was just saying, you know, as a young entrepreneur, this is something, just another thing to look up to, man, from you. But going into my questions, because I know you're living on time. So when you were 14, what really drew you towards wine, you know, and sparked this vision of what you've now created here with Empathy Wines?
Nothing. I hated it. My dad forced me to work in a liquor store. I was making $1,000 a weekend selling baseball cards. And now I have to work at the store $2 an hour bagging ice. I didn't like alcohol. I didn't drink a single thing of alcohol in high school. I wasn't attracted to that lifestyle. But what attracted me was around 15, 16, there was this thing going on where I was like, wait a minute, are these rich people collecting wine? And once it became collecting, and that was my love in sports cards, it completely clicked for me. Like completely clicked. And
Just put you right on the page.
Yeah, I was just like in the fucking game. It was basically like Frank Thomas, Bo Jackson, Walter Payton became Opus One Silver Oak Chateau Petrus, and that was it. And then it got cool. And then the story I just told about tasting it and tasting it. And then 5 years later, I was all about it. And so it was really cool.
Okay. And so what's been your favorite wine you've helped create so far? Anyway, I know you got some big projects coming up. I'm excited.
I would say the Empathy White last year, because it was the place where we had a very strong vision for the rosé and the red, but the white, we kind of went in kind of creatively. And I don't know how you, John, Nate, you guys remember it, but I was really focused in that session because I was like, really like, we have an opportunity here to do something different. Thoughts?
Okay.
Yeah, the white last year, we didn't have anything that, it was like a blank canvas, which I think the rosé and the red, we kind of, it's funny that we partnered with Constellation, because the Prisoner was one of the wines that we really looked up to and wanted to produce a similar wine for. But the white, we really didn't have a comp, so going into it blind was actually a fun experience. I think how our rosés have turned out, both of them have really become like a red wine drinker's rosé, which I think has hit a really good spot in the market. So I'd probably say our first rosé. I think it was awesome to have a product in the market finally, after working on it for over a year, and to get that feedback from so many different people that they love the rosé was awesome.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to trying it, guys. I'm ordering it right after this. I didn't want to miss my spot.
Thank you so much, man. Have a great night.
Thank you. Cheers to you guys. Thanks for having me on.
Everybody, hope everybody has a great 4th of July weekend. Nate, Trout, you guys know how I feel about you, which is that I feel you should take all your money that you made in Empathy and put into sports cards. And I hope you do. And
you bought a big LeBron, right?
Nate, I heard you bought a big LeBron. People are gonna be like, Nate, you're like, Nate's like family, and like real friends are gonna be like, Nate, so what did you do? Like, what are you gonna do with some of them? He's like, I bought a big LeBron.
I bought my family a couple gifts, and the only thing that I did was buy a LeBron.
Proud of you. Why are you wearing a sweater? It's the summer.
It's a shirt.
Okay, good. Oh, it's like a new age shirt.
Yeah,
Trouty,
it's a hip shirt.
Trouty, Nate's changed post acquisition.
I think
he's really changed
him.
I've got a lot more grays, is what's happened.
Yeah, you've changed, Nate. You've gone like Euro cool in like 2 minutes. I love you two so much, and I love you, Vayner Nation. I hope you enjoyed this hour across the board. Big shout out to everybody on all the platforms that have been leaving wonderful comments. And I love you. Have a great 4th of July. EmpathyWines.com. We would love the support. We got a lot of wine to sell so that Nate can buy more, Euro shirts. See ya.
Bye, everyone.